changes it.
The only shirt I have that is gaming related is a button-up shirt that has Pikachu's all over it. That's it. And it actually looks good. It doesn't look too stupid. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it.
How many compliments do you get on this shirt?
I just bought it the other day.
Oh, so you're just waiting. You're just waiting for the compliments to roll in now. Huh?
Yeah, I'll be rolling in with the Pikachu shirt day one. We'll see how that goes,
dude. Everyone's gonna love you.
Hopefully. Everybody, and welcome to episode number 34 of the DualShockers ShockCast for the week of June 5th. I am your host for the week, and for probably the foreseeable future, my name is Logan Moore, and with me today and probably every other week from now on is Azario Lopez, fellow staff writer at DualShockers. Hey, Azario.
What's up, man? Let's do this.
So the ShockCast, it is back after being put in the grave for 2 months or something like that?
Yeah, It's been a long road of planning and convincing, but we took it over and now we're here.
Yeah. So there's just been a lot of changes lately with new staff members coming in. Old host of the ShockCast, Luke Cataldi, is now editor-in-chief, so he doesn't have as much time as before to come in and host the show once a week with all of us goober heads from the site. Yeah. Yeah, all of the plebes. So we have talked to Lou, and I think for the future, we're going to be taking it over. And we're going to... So this is actually a very weird week that we are coming back with the show, just because, like I said, it is the week of June 5th, which means next week is E3, which means this is the week before E3, which is almost as crazy as E3 in a lot of ways. So we're not going to be able to implement an actual format to the show until E3 is most likely over. But we do have some new plans for the direction that we want this show to go in. We have some formats that we're playing around with, and we'll probably start implementing those, episode 36 or so? Something like that, 36, 37.
Yeah, one of the biggest changes is we are going to limit our live Twitch streams for the show. It used to be where on Wednesdays we were there 5:30 PST doing it live, but now we're on audio only, and we plan to go back to the Twitch structure probably later on, but as of right now we're just doing audio. Maybe some special Twitch events where we can hang out with the readers and do some giveaways. I don't know, hang out.
I assume we'll still throw the audio up on the YouTube channel as well. We haven't talked about that, but we'll still do that. We'll still do that in addition. So it'll be up on the YouTube channel. We'll throw it up as audio, and it'll be on iTunes and all of those other places that you can listen to podcasts. So we'll give you more information as we move along. Like we said, so as you can tell, it is just Azario and myself this week. That will not be the norm. We will stick with our 4-person format that we've had in the shows of the past. We tried to get some people on the show tonight. No one was free. So we just decided to go ahead and record anyway, because we need to bring this show back because it has been sitting idle far too long at this point.
Yeah. E3 especially, planning started at the end of April, early May for us, and we have 4 people attending this year, so it's been a lot of planning and a lot of work. But Logan and myself, along with Thomas and Noah, writers on
Tomas.
Oh, sorry, I call him Tom.
We call him Thomas.
Yeah. We'll be attending, so we're actually going to be hopefully doing a show from E3 on Monday and then putting it up on Tuesday for you. And that's another thing we want to do, is every Tuesday get you these podcasts and make that your weekly go-to for some cool gaming news from us.
Yeah, we know that is the key with these shows, is consistency, and that's the one thing that the ShockCast didn't have in the past, was the consistency. So we really want to try to focus in and make sure that we get the audio up by Tuesday every day. I don't want to give a specific time because I'm sure it'll differ every week, but Tuesday we want to get the audio up. So we will make sure that we do that moving forward. But like I said, kind of a weird week to come back, just because there is so much different. E3 is next week. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Like Azario said, we're going to be there. There's going to be a lot that we're seeing that we will not tell you about right now. But keep it locked to the site next week because I think we're going to have a lot of stuff going up, probably more than any other time of the year, I'd have to say.
Yes. It's going to be a busy site. Really excited this year. So I think this show, we're just going to go over our predictions and then add in some readers.
Yeah, so we've got predictions that we'll go to. I wanted to ask you, though, before we got to that. So this is my first E3.
Yeah.
What should I expect? You are the grizzled veteran of what, 2 or 3 of these things now?
Yeah, this will be my 4th or 3rd. I'm not sure.
So it's my first one. It's Tomas's first one, and it is also Noah's first as well.
Yeah.
What should we expect?
Lots of running. It is it's meeting after meeting, and this year with 15,000 extra people, it's probably going to be even more hectic than before. But goddamn, it's fun. It's a time to hang out with people that you don't see often and catch up, and at the same time play some great upcoming games and be able to deliver that news to those who couldn't attend, and it just feels amazing. It's a dream. It was one of my dreams from like 12 or 13 to attend this show, and every year it's the same for me, walking into that room and just like this rush of anxiety just gets lifted because it just feels so awesome to be in that room and see all these amazing products of sweat and development. It's great.
Yeah, this is something I think I've wanted to do since the days of watching X-Play on G4 when I was a kid. I think I've wanted to go to E3 ever since then. So I always told myself I'd make it one year, and this year is that year. So it's definitely odd.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad to be going this year. I'm really excited for it. And I'm also just preparing for the work because I know there's going to be a lot of it. But I'm excited for the work, actually, even though I'll probably hate it come, Friday when we're flying back.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to. I think I told one of my friends, he asked like when I would be getting back or whatever to hang out or something like that. I don't know why he would want to hang out. And I basically told him I would be like Jesus, where I would go down Friday and probably stay down through Friday and Saturday and then come back up Sunday, and then maybe I'll reemerge Sunday and we can do something.
Be resurrected from E3.
Yeah, on Sunday to maybe go outside and do something. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I think everybody else is who's probably listening. And if you're listening out there and you're one of the 15,000 extra people who are going and you see us there running around, say hi. You'll recognize Tomas. He's got an iconic beard. So keep an eye out for him there.
You'll recognize Noah and I as... Actually, we'll probably disappear because we both look like hipster douchebags.
Yeah, they'll stand out in the crowd.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. Vegan. Are video game people hipster douchebags? Is that how the video game people dress?
I think that's how. I think that's the stigma now. I think that's safe to say.
I think that's how everyone dresses at this point, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, but we're both vegetarian vegans, so we kind of
vegetarian vegans. Yeah. They'll be sure to tell you about it if you meet him on the show.
Yeah. I just wanted to enter that in now so that you know that you asked.
Let's get into some predictions, though. So, like you said, first show back in a while. This format is not going to be what we're doing normally, but we did want to throw in some predictions. So, Azario and I have 3 each, 3 at-large predictions. Not really confined to any of the companies specifically.
We don't know anything. These aren't like, we know this is happening.
Yeah, these are not insider secrets.
Yeah.
We honestly don't know anything. And if we did, we would obviously not be talking about on a podcast the week before.
I make sure that Logan doesn't know anything. That's like my main concern, is to keep everything from him. So he definitely doesn't.
I definitely don't know anything. All I know is what's on my schedule.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell them about that either. But predictions, let's get into those. we can start with you and hear what your first one is. So go ahead and fire away.
All right. During PlayStation show, and a lot of mine does have to do with PlayStation. Not saying I'm a fanboy, more just equipped to know about PlayStation stuff. But so you hear like an iconic Western theme, and you're like, "What? Red Dead? I didn't think this was going to be here." But no, no, this is not Red Dead. The screen comes up, you see a tumbleweed cross, and then Wild Arms pops up on the screen, back for another round, and that's it. It's gonna.
Is it a relaunch or is it a sequel?
Dude, so Wild Arms actually, I think the first one got remade, and it's called like Code F or something like that. But I think it's Wild Arms 6. We'll go with that. The last Wild Arms was a PSP exclusive, XF.
Oh, Jesus, that was like what, a decade ago?
And then it's got some mobile games, but yeah. So this is the year that I think Wild Arms is going to come back to consoles for us RPG nerds and take us back to the West. I love Western games. Western themed games, at least. I don't know why. I love anime, Western anime, Trigun, stuff like that. Cowboy Bebop, love it. So Wild Arms just fits right into what I love about themes in video games, and I wanted to make a comeback. And I think this year is the year.
Is this something you predict often? Or is this mainly... So we got that news report today that... Was it Sean Layton who said something about the Japanese games and how you might want to keep an eye on their E3 showings to see what they talk about there? Kind of teasing something like that.
So Wild Arms was one of my predictions for last year, I believe. I didn't say anything, but I was hoping for it. There's another one of my predictions that I was hoping for, but I'll save it for when I tell you in a little bit.
When you bring it up, even though I know what it is already. We'll get into my first one.
Yeah.
So my first one I'm going to go to here. Let's start with Microsoft. So I think that Microsoft has the most to gain at this year's E3, but I also think they have the most to lose. Because we don't really know what they're going to do. Like, we know they're going to come out and talk about Scorpio and probably Crackdown 3 in addition to that. But the rest of their slate of upcoming games is pretty hazy, I would say. And because of that, I think they could endear a lot of fans by making just a ton of rapid fire announcements. I think it would be good on them to announce a couple new IPs, because I think they need to stop going back to their well of Halo and Gears of War constantly, because you can only do that for so long. That said, despite that, I am going to say that they revive an old IP at the show. And I think they're going to... So my actual prediction is I think we see something new from Fable. And I don't think it's going to be in the same vein as what Fable Legends was. Was that the name of that one?
Yeah,
that they were showing off?
I don't know. What were they thinking?
That never looked good to me. So I think they're going to announce that Fable is returning. It's not going to be Fable 4. I think it is going to be a new relaunch of the series. I think it is going to take place actually not in Albion. I think it would be smart if they set it in a different country altogether, give the series a fresh start that it needs. And this is going a little bit out there. I wouldn't be shocked to see that there's a new studio developing it as well, with potentially former Lionhead devs coming on board to create the game. So they'd announce both a new development team and a new game at the same time. It's a prediction. It's one I'm not super confident in, but it's one I would like to see because I am like a huge fan of the Fable games, especially the ones on 360. Fable 1 never really clicked with me. I think I played it a little too late after it released, though. But I think 2 and 3 on 360 were fantastic, and I was always disappointed that we never got one on Xbox One, at least a proper Fable, and not whatever the heck Legends was looking like it was going to turn out to be.
See, that was like the exact opposite of me, where I super got into Fable 1 and then dropped off Fable 2, Fable 3, and never really returned after that.
Fable 3 was definitely not as good as 2. I thought 2 was like one of the best RPGs of last console generation. Definitely one of my favorite 360 games. 3 got a little long in the tooth with the whole ruling stuff and being a king like that. It was a good idea, but I didn't feel like they capitalized on it. It felt kind of shallow once it was all said and done. But I'd like to see a proper new Fable game being developed, and will it happen? I don't know. But I think they need to get away and create some new IPs, but I would like to see an old one like this return. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So just for our readers to come in, bumper_duck says just one thing: SOCOM Trilogy HD remaster. Sorry,
Trilogy.
SOCOM Trilogy HD remastered, and that will be amazing if that happens. I'm not a shooter guy, I will admit, but SOCOM is amazing.
Which ones would it remaster?
Yeah,
Isn't there like 6 of them?
Yeah, but I think he's talking about the newer ones, the PS3 ones, not the PS2 ones.
Okay. I've never played SOCOM. Those are games that I have never touched. I am more of a shooter guy, but I'm not a big tactical shooter guy. Yeah. So I've never gotten into those games because of that. That would be a remastered SOCOM would be interesting.
It's just the SOCOM series itself got thrown away, when the
because the PlayStation Network crashed, and that kind of ruined their last go around with the games.
And it sucks because they deserve better than that.
Yeah.
Zipper Interactive deserves better than that.
Yeah, that was such a strange moment. Like, I don't remember exactly when the crash of the network happened. I can't remember how many weeks we were into it when SOCOM came out, but you would have thought that they would have delayed it at that point. You can delay a game like really quickly before release. Like, what was that game that was it Get Even that got delayed a few weeks ago because of the terrorist attacks on Manchester? Yeah. They delayed the game by a month, like 5 days before release or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many copies they had sent out into the wild or anything like that. I don't even know how the game's releasing specifically. Maybe it's digital only. But you can delay a game pretty close until its release, and it felt like they should have done that with
it's just the Sony back then is not the Sony now, and that's all. That's the only way we can look at it. That era of consoles was definitely a 360 centered market, even for Japanese games. Japanese games didn't start coming to the PS3 until well into its life cycle. So
yeah, we got like what Ni no Kuni way later into the PS3's life cycle. That was like 2012, was it?
Yeah, even like games like Star Ocean and Tales of Vesperia were 360 first, and very odd, super weird time.
That was strange. I still remember when Square announced that they would be bringing like Final Fantasy 13 to Xbox. It was just like, that's odd. That's a strange thing to do.
And that's where I played it. That's where I played Final Fantasy 13. Was on Xbox.
Was on Xbox?
Yeah. Super weird, huh?
Yeah, that is kind of odd.
So,
what is your next prediction? Let's go to
my
your
next prediction is again PlayStation exclusive. I think this year we're going to see some Death Stranding gameplay. No more teases. Hideo Kojima comes out and says, guys, here's the game, and but trolls us, and then it's just a cinematic trailer again, showing some more teases. It says that that's gameplay.
I would like a really quirky gameplay reveal. Like, do you remember when they showed off Metal Gear Rising, and he was like cutting a melon, and that was all Saw, and we're like, what is that even?
They wanted to show the precision. They wanted to show the precision of their engine and how you can cut a watermelon in like 50 different ways.
Yeah. I'd be down for a gameplay reveal like that with Death Stranding. Just something strange and very Kojima-like.
Yeah, I would like them to just put a demo out and just be like PT shit, just like show the cinematic thing at the PlayStation conference, but then while everyone's at the event watching Sony, like they sneak on a demo of actual Death Stranding onto the PSN.
So the only thing I'll say about Kojima right now, and obviously we're still recording this a week before Sony will have their conference, he has been more quiet on Twitter lately, and I don't know if that's a good barometer to chart like maybe his head is finally down and they are just like way in the weeds with developing in this game and they won't appear at E3 because they are finally going to go quiet on it, which I think a lot of people think that they should do.
Yeah, he's been doing like when he announced it up until like recently, he's just been everywhere. It seemed like going on trips, going to events, appearing at places.
He has not been shy about talking about this game.
Yeah.
He's obviously not revealed everything, but he will talk about it openly anytime people ask him about it, which is a lot different because you don't see a guy like Neil Druckmann going to events left and right and talking about The Last of Us Part 2 or anything like that.
Yeah.
Kojima's his own character and he does what he wants, it seems like, with this game, even though Sony is helping to publish it. So I was thinking about a Death Stranding prediction as well. I don't know, man. I'd love to see a gameplay, just a quick, like, even if it's like 10 or 20 seconds of footage, and that's it.
Like,
that would be. I
just want to see what he's going for: first person, third person, over the shoulder. I don't know.
I think he's already said it's third.
Okay.
So that is one of those questions he did answer in some panel along the way, I think.
But are we just going to be staring at a naked Norman Reedus for a 10-hour game?
He's talked about ropes a lot. He's talked about sticks a lot.
And sticks.
He has also said it is like a third-person action game, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So I have no idea how this game is going to play.
Yeah,
like the trailers that they have shown makes me think anything is possible with whatever this turns out to be, which I'm fine with because I trust Kojima. He has not led me astray.
Yeah, I know it's not coming out till like 2018, 2019, but yeah.
That was going to be my next question for you. When do you seriously think this will release? Like honestly, because I'm like knee jerk and not even joking, like 2020 is what I'm expecting for this.
I was thinking spring 2019.
That could be good. How many years of development time would that be?
At least 4.
Would it be 4? Yeah. I don't even know if it would be 4, would it?
I think around there.
So 2015 is when the whole Kojima Konami saga happened.
Oh, okay, yeah. But he could have been planning it before that.
He was let go at the end of the year, I think.
So maybe 3 years.
And then he spent, I think that he spent most of last year just putting the studio together, which is why it was so surprising when they had that teaser at E3.
Yeah.
And even more surprising when they had another one at the Game Awards.
Dude, no joke. I already forgot that it's only been 1 year since he teased that game.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's only been a year. Dude. Plus, they were putting a studio together last year. So they had to establish that, hire people, get the team together, everybody get on the same page, and then actually start developing it. But then at the same time, all they're working on is these teaser trailers.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
Fuck.
Sony could be helping them a lot, of course. I feel like the game's very far.
Possibly 3 years. I'm just going to say 3 years now. With planning. With planning.
That can work.
Because he obviously knows his direction, so he obviously planned it before the reveal. Hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even though the game still does seem so far out, I agree with you. Like, gameplay does not seem outside the realm of possibility because, like we said, he is just talking about it so openly with everyone. So, I mean, why not at this point? Like, if that's how you want this game's development to go, where you are just very face forward and open with what you're doing, then sure, let's go. Let's see some more of it. Yeah. 3. My next one. I will jump to Sony as well. So this is against what I think should actually happen, but I'm going to go with it anyway. I think we see a new teaser for The Last of Us Part 2. I don't think any release window will be given at the end of the teaser or anything like that. And I actually don't even think anybody's going to comment on it. Like, if Sean Layden comes out, I don't think he's going to be like, wow, what a wonderful Last of Us Part 2 trailer. I think they're just going to play it and act like nothing ever happened and keep moving on with the show, which is kind of similar to what they did last year, where it was just like rapid fire trailers and gameplay, like one after another, where they really didn't say a whole lot in between. I could see them showing off another teaser in the same vein as the one we got at PSX last year, the reveal teaser. What they show, I don't really know. But I do think Naughty Dog needs to go quiet on this game, very similar to the Death Stranding. Like, this game's a ways out. Maybe better to just not say anything for a while. And
this game is like PS5 material.
Yeah, this is going to be the swan song of the PS4, if not bleeding into PS5 potentially. It'll be the last game on PS4 if I had to guess. Last big notable first party game from Sony. Mm-hmm. So I really think they should go quiet on it, but I just have this like strange gut feeling that they're going to show something just because they know it's out there now. Why not? Neil's been open about posting a lot of stuff on Twitter as well about the mocap sessions they're doing. Maybe they did another teaser like similar to the one at PSX or something like that. Maybe they've had two of these stacked up for a while, because in the panel at PSX, which I actually just listened to the other day again for some reason, he talked about how he had the PSX teaser, he had that written and planned and scripted like 2.5, 3 years ago. So if they had a couple ideas already, they may have just recorded these last year and have already planned in advance to stagger them out like over the course of the next 6 months to a year. Like, that wouldn't shock me in any way. I don't think we're going to see gameplay or anything like that. I think that'll be way further down the road, but just another CG teaser would not shock me if we saw that.
Yeah, I agree. I do have a question though. Do you think Joel's dead?
I don't think he's dead. I think that is the stupidest theory that the internet created. I don't know why he would be dead either.
Well, the thing is, I'm thinking is that they've got to be smart enough to know that this is what the internet will assume happened to Joel, but they're just gonna like prove them all wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why give away such a huge spoiler in the first trailer?
Well, another thing that Druckmann said in that panel that they did last year at PSX was he talked about how The Last of Us to him is those two characters. And like people have talked about how like, oh no, The Last of Us is about that world. You could focus in on some other characters or do other things. And he was like very blunt and saying, no, it is about those two characters. And you could still make it about those characters, I guess, if he was a ghost or something and Ellie's having visions about him. Like, he would still have a presence on the game. But
that's so cliche, dude.
Yeah, that is it's very lame, and I can't see, knowing the kind of writer Druckmann is, I can't see him going down that route either, because it's
way too easy. It's something I would write.
Well, it's just not impactful in any way either. Yeah, like The Last of Us is a blunt, emotional game that makes you feel.
We've all seen Ghost. We've all seen that movie. We all know what happens.
So it just doesn't seem like something they would do. And to put like a more personal spin on it, like, if for some reason he was a ghost, I personally would like be borderline furious, because I think
unless Joel and Ellie do like a pot scene where they sculpt a pot together. Yeah, that would be perfect. I think Joel is so Ellie gets a lot of love from people who've played The Last of Us. I think Joel's a 10 times better character personally. Like, I think he has way more depth to his character. I think he's so much more interesting. Like, The Last of Us to me, I like Ellie. Like, I have nothing against Ellie, but The Last of Us to me is about Joel way more than it's about Ellie. And I feel like I'm in the minority with that opinion, but seeing that Joel is dead in Last of Us Part 2, and she's like a ghost now or something, like, I would hate that. That would just be that'd be so lame. I wouldn't like that at all. I'm fine if he dies in the game, but don't make him some like a vision or something like that with Ellie. Too easy.
It is too easy.
So let's go on to one of our readers. Alfonso Ferrero says Horizon sequel or standalone DLC. And I think that this could happen.
Horizon sequel? No way, not
No,
already.
but standalone DLC.
Standalone DLC? Yes.
Sure.
Yes. I think that's actually a very good bet, and it's actually something I haven't thought about until this moment either.
Yeah, that's like something that they would open the show with. Like I can't think of anything that they would, because last year was God of War. They opened the show with that. But this year, I'm thinking since Horizon did so well and we're so close to the release of that game and they're still riding the success, I say why not? Open the show with some standalone DLC.
Yeah, because you could open it with some gameplay or something like that right away too. Like that's not something you need to hide behind teaser trailers or something like that. The game's out. Like everybody's played it at this point. No, that would make a ton of sense, and I would happily dive back into that game for another 5 or 10 hours, something around there.
I have played it. I have put some hours into it.
You've played it now?
Yeah.
How many hours into it are you?
Maybe like 3 or 4.
Are you liking it?
I'm kind of weird about open world games right now. Like I've said in previous podcasts with Zelda, I really am liking more linear stuff lately.
Mm-hmm.
I just prefer it. Like it's even hard for me to get through Nier Automata, and I love those characters. But I'm just like, I kind of like linear stories right now, and that's what I want to play. And Horizon is super open, and I just get distracted everywhere I go. You know, I'm trying to get to someplace, but here's 4 missions on the way, and I'm like, fuck, do I have to do these?
Yeah.
So
no, I get in the same mind frame from time to time as well, where it's just like, man, I'm just gonna buy these like 2 or 3 indie games I've been wanting to play for a while, and I'm gonna play through these this weekend because I just want the satisfaction of like experiencing a story or experiencing a game, because I don't want to go put time into, I don't know, Watch Dogs 2 and just check off a bunch of boxes. Watch Dogs 2 is a fantastic game, but like the open world games are so oversaturated at this point that I'm finding myself more and more often like needing to be in the mood for them, compared to back in the day. It was just like there wasn't a lot of them. So when one did come out, it was like refreshing in the moment. It's not as much the case anymore, unfortunately, but it's fine. I think open world games have honestly been a good thing for the industry. It made developers think outside the box and play around with that formula a little bit more, but there is just a lot of them. So
all right. Well, my last
your third one.
My last
your craziest one too.
My last prediction. All right. End of the show. Geo comes out and he's like, guys, you thought the show was over? Well, hold on to your seats, motherfuckers. And he actually says that. And he
actually says that. We've got an exact quote prediction.
He pulls out a device in his hand and he says, welcome to the future. Vita 2, bitches. And then he drops it on the ground like a mic drop, and it doesn't break because it's indestructible. And
it's made out of adamantium.
Yeah, fireworks come out behind him. He does a little jig. That's it. Price.
You and I stand up in the crowd and start a standing ovation.
Yeah. The price, 200 bones. There you go. Vita 2.
There you go, Switch. The ball's in your court now. What are you going to do?
Backwards compatibility on the Vita 2. I'll say that too.
With the original Vita?
With the original Vita.
All right.
Dude.
I don't know why I'm honestly trying to think about this prediction and consider its possibilities, because it will not happen, but that's fine.
It would kill. It would kill, dude.
Okay, so I want to let you know that you would be the happiest person in the room if that did happen, but I would be very pleased as well. I love my Vita. It's been a fantastic system. It's one of my favorite handhelds ever.
Dude, wouldn't it be awesome if it had 4K streaming capabilities?
How would they do that? That thing would not cost 200 bones then. Thing would cost like $400 or $500 probably.
Dude, no, $200. Cheapest 4K device on the market.
Maybe in like 2 or 3 years, yeah, but not right now. Gotta wait for the 4K stuff to drop, because it's not even prevalent yet, which I think so strange for the gaming industry to be going in the direction of 4K when I don't really know anyone who has a 4K TV yet, myself included.
Yeah.
So the games are getting ahead of the technology that they're performing on, which is kind of strange.
Well, it's like they want to future-proof themselves before the industry before 4K TVs become $400, $500. You're already going to have a device that can support them,
and that makes sense. But at the same time, I always thought it was odd that the PS4 Pro and now Scorpio has decided to make that leap midway through the generation and put their foot down and say, no, it's the same console though still, so you don't have to worry about that. Like if we got to PS5 and whatever the successor to the Xbox One would be 2 or 3 years down the road, 4K TVs would be more prevalent and in more people's homes. And then it would also be a more logical leap at that time that would be the selling point of the new boxes, I guess, is that they're both 4K capable. Like now there will be new technology that crops up within the next few years, but I don't know what the selling point is of a PS5 or an Xbox successor now that they have already implemented 4K. They've already implemented the 4K. So it's like, what is the next leap up to convince me like, oh, I really need to get this besides just the standard better internals, better processing power, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I don't play my Xbox One S that much, but its capabilities are pretty amazing, and it's a pretty sexy ass box if you ask me.
Yeah.
Dude, the Xbox One S,
I really like it.
It's really nice to look at. Like I love looking at it for some reason.
I hate turning it on.
I hate turning it on. Just because there's always a fucking update and I can never play a game.
And the dashboard still sucks.
The dashboard, I don't even understand how to get from one place to another. And then there's ads on it now, and I'm just like...
There's been ads on it since the 360, though. Well,
yeah. And
always go check out Major Nelson's favorite game of the week, and don't forget to purchase some Doritos or something like that.
I don't want to be told what to do. Yeah, I love looking at it. I like the controller too. If that makes
the controller's nice. I really like it. So Vita 2. It's not happening. If it happens, I will record Azario's reaction for you all to see, and I will post it on our YouTube channel or something like that.
I'll do it for the Snapchat. I'll do it for the Snap.
Do it for the Snap. Yeah. I think it could. I'll say this. This is the last good thing I'll say about Vita 2. I think it could happen. I don't think it could happen this year, though. I think it makes more sense next year, potentially. Man, they would have hardware overload at Sony between VR, PS4 standard, PS4 Pro, and then a Vita successor on top of that. Like they would be. I mean, they'd be hitting all fronts, but you can't expect your consumers to purchase all of those at the same time.
So true. Yeah.
But next year it makes more sense. Maybe a little bit more distance from PS4 Pro and PSVR. My last one, I'm going to give Nintendo some love because we've been talking about Sony a lot so far. Honestly, at a top-down level, I think Nintendo is actually going to have a pretty small showing this year. Not only at the show itself, but at during their digital event. I think they're really going to focus in on Super Mario Odyssey the same way that they focused in on Breath of the Wild last year. It obviously won't be their only thing they're showing, because that was all that it was last year at E3 for Nintendo was Breath of the Wild and Pokemon Sun and Moon. But Breath of the Wild was pretty much it. I think they're going to really focus in on Super Mario Odyssey this year, and that'll be the main focus of their digital event. But that said, I do think we also get details finally on Switch Virtual Console. I think it is going to launch in July. I think it is also going to have GameCube support, so GameCube games will be coming to Virtual Console this time.
Skies of Arcadia, bitches.
Skies of Arcadia. I will give you 3 games I think are coming, though. I think within the opening weeks of Virtual Console, we will get Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Nice. I think we're going to get Mario Sunshine. I think we'll get Luigi's Mansion.
Will these be upscaled to HD and have a nice...
Did they do that with the Wii ones when those came to Wii U?
No, they didn't. But PlayStation 3's emulator support for PlayStation and PS2 games actually upscale them to HD, and it's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that maybe they implement that with the emulation.
Because it's Nintendo, I lean towards saying no.
Yeah,
just because
okay. Yeah,
anytime we ask hard questions like that, they end up saying the answer is typically no. So I would say they're not HD. However, that would be very nice. I think they stagger these out in waves, though, similar to like what they did when Super Nintendo games came to 3DS. It was like, hey, here we've got 5 games. We're going to launch this one on this date, this one on this date, this one on this date. I think they do the same thing here. So they'll throw out Sunshine and Mansion and Paper Mario over the course of a couple weeks. And then the last thing to go along with the virtual console prediction, I think cross-buy will still not be implemented. So if you bought those games on Wii U or 3DS, you're still screwed and you have to go buy them again. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah, because they don't care. They love money. They know we'll fucking buy it.
They know you'll buy Earthbound for the third time for $9.99. So there you go.
Don't give a shit.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say that they will not.
Looking at Nintendo's floor plan, I don't know anything about Nintendo's E3 presence. I'm just saying that for full disclosure. But looking at their floor plan, it's a lot bigger than last year. So I don't think that they're going to focus on one game again this year. I think they're going to have a new Metroid, though. I don't.
That was almost one of my predictions. I was going to make an anti-prediction where I said Metroid and Mother 3 will not.
Federation Force was the shittiest thing they could have ever done.
I still think that game's so funny, dude. I don't really care about Metroid either way. Like I will, if there's a new Metroid, I will play that game. But I am not like a fervent fan of that series, so I like to just make fun of those who are.
Yeah, even like Bayonetta 3 could show up there. Bayonetta 3
could maybe. That may not make sense right now. Maybe though.
They just need a good action game. They need a mature game on the Switch. There's nothing.
How about the Wonderful 102?
Ooh, Platinum Games. Highly underrated game. Wonderful 101.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I never played it myself, but I have heard good things.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finally learn what Project Robot was or is.
Yeah. So for our last readers, this is from Twitter, at DJ Grand Blue. I think this is a Nintendo one. He says, as always, a new Chrono. And I think a new Chrono Trigger game could be cool.
Could be cool.
Chrono Cross on the PlayStation was not that good. So perhaps a remaster, Square Enix continuing their remasters, and they focus on Chrono. I would have expected RPG Factory to do it, like a remaster, because their engine's already so close.
Yeah.
To what Chrono Trigger is, they could have just redid Chrono Trigger in that engine, and hey, you got yourself a game. You don't have to do much. But yeah, I don't know.
Chrono Trigger is another large blind spot in my gaming history. I need to play that game. I've started it up once or twice. I forgot to save one time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess autosave has ruined it for me, and I forgot you used to have to manually save back in the day.
Yeah.
So I lost like 90 minutes worth of progress. So that was dumb. But I need to go back and play that game, and I have it on my Vita. I may do that. I may try to do that soon. It's the PS1 emulation, I guess. Or
that's actually not the version you should play.
I've heard as much. The DS is the version I should play. Isn't it?
That's the best one you're gonna get. I have from firsthand. I don't know this. I do have it on DS. I've only played it for a little bit, but I do know that I'd rather play it on the Super Nintendo than the PlayStation for sure. Like that's how bad. That's how like wonky it is.
I'd rather play it on Vita though, just because it's Vita. And I like Vita.
No, dude, I hear you. Man.
So we'll see if I ever do decide to go back to that. Do you want to toss a couple others rapid fire that we really won't comment on, but just some other reader predictions that they may have either put up on the site or commented on that Twitter post that we put up.
Yeah, so we hear something about Crystal Dynamics Avenger products. This is from Frenchy Fries.
Frenchy Fries, what up?
Yeah. That could be cool.
That could be cool.
At Fullbring says Bloodborne 2 ready for release end of this year. Fuck
ready. That would be awesome. I would be totally in on that. That would cement 2017 as more legendary than it maybe already is. Even though Red Dead did get pushed.
Okay, so. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Bloodborne, guys, and I'm gonna lay it on you. If it's not from Software, it's not gonna be the Bloodborne that you know and love. Mm-hmm. They are gonna take it in a direction where they want to bring the series, the franchise.
Because Sony does have rights to that one, correct?
Yes.
They do have complete control over that game.
IP, yeah. Yeah. And From Software already announced that they did not want to continue Dark Souls or the Bloodborne series. So everybody's fingers crossed for Bloodborne 2, myself included. I don't think we'll see it. Like, I really don't. I think we might see something else from. They've got to be working on something. It would make sense to appear at the Sony show. What that is, I don't know. But I want Bloodborne 2, and I know a lot of other people do. Actually, if you want to check out one of our pieces on the site, Jordan, is it Leffler? I think that's his name. Loeffler? I forget. I'm sorry. One of the Jordans. We have two.
I forget. No, one of them is Jordan Boyd, and I know he didn't write it. It was Elderly Jordan. He wrote a piece on Bloodborne 2. We've been having an E3 Dreams type of, what do you want to call that, series up on the site the past few days. And he wrote one up about how he would love to see Bloodborne 2 revealed at E3 this year. So you can go check that out on the site. That's a good piece. I wrote one up last week about Spider-Man that you can go check out. That's buried somewhere on the site as well. Just search Spider-Man. I'm sure you'll find it. But we're going to have a lot of those going up this week, throughout the week. I don't think you're doing one, are you?
No. Dude, you aren't? I'm buried in so much work that I would like to, but
I wanted you to write something up about Vita 2. I think that would have been fun if you would have wrote about that.
I'll have till the end of the week. So
you do have till the end of the week. That would be something good to throw up. I guess we can end it there unless you want to do a couple more. If you had anything else.
I'll throw out one more. So Phoenix Wing, speaking of Skies of Arcadia, says Skies of Arcadia reimagining. That would be kind of cool.
So a relaunch then of the series, I guess?
Maybe, yeah. I would say like return, like a reboot.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah. That would
Did you ever play Skies of Arcadia?
I never played Skies of Arcadia.
That's the game, dude.
That's the game? I'm not going to put much stock in it happening. I'm familiar with it, but I doubt we see it.
I would like, well, if we're going to end the show, I would like to end the show with the listeners getting to know something about us.
Yeah, for sure.
History. I would just like to ask you, what was the first game that you played? Not the first game you played ever, but the game that you played that kind of dictated what genre you were going to be into for the remainder of your gaming career.
So
what is your favorite genre, and then what game got you into that genre?
I don't know if I really have a favorite genre. I would say action RPGs are potentially my favorite. If I had to choose one, it would probably be that, just because I like the feel of leveling up and growing more powerful and yada, yada, yada. That's why everybody likes Bloodborne and stuff like that. It's hard to choose one game. I'd say there was 3 or 4 games throughout my gaming history, I guess, that really cemented why I liked games. One of those was, it sounds tacky because everybody says this one, but Ocarina of Time was one of those first ones as a kid where I was just like blown away that a game could be this large and this open, and I could travel to all kinds of different places and stuff like that. And there was all these temples, and just I don't need to write a love letter to Ocarina of Time because it's been done 1,000 other times. But that was really the first game where I was just kind of astounded with what I was seeing on the screen because I didn't think any of those things could happen. So that was one of the first ones. And then I'd say a couple other notable ones to go with like an RPG. Knights of the Old Republic. As a huge Star Wars fan, I had no idea that a Star Wars game could be that good, and that I would also love it and care about it, because that was really my first foray into the expanded universe, the non-canon universe now. I really didn't dive into anything Star Wars that was not the movies at the time, but getting into that game and sinking my teeth into it and that progression and that I always play as a Sith in that game just because I love the payoff at the end. Feeling like you could actually be evil in a Star Wars game and you wouldn't lose for that, or you wouldn't be punished for that, was just so cool to me at the time, because I always thought like having Force lightning and stuff would be the coolest thing. So actually making a Sith character and progressing through the game like that was also really cool. And then the other one, which is actually kind of strange because I don't think I played it till like 2006 or 7 for the first time, was Metal Gear Solid 1. That one really, I mean, I almost played it a decade after it came out and it still really hit me hard with both the storytelling and the gameplay. That game still holds up really well to this day.
I think it does too. Yeah.
Like that one, and it's really surprising how well it holds up because the controls aren't too great and stuff like that, but I think there's once you
get into it though, once you master those controls, like you kind of know what you're doing, but it does take a little time.
Shout out to Vita again, because you can map those controls, and that is actually very nice. So once you're able to change the controls around and map them how you want them, the game is a lot better. You can put X as the confirm button rather than circle. God, I don't know why they did that on that.
It's Japanese layout. They didn't change.
That is the Japanese layout. Yeah,
they didn't change the button input.
So
for a lot of the Metal Gears, I believe in the new one they did, but
I think I think you're right. I think it was like that even through maybe PS4 as well.
Yeah,
is it just 3?
Yeah, I don't think it is in the new in Phantom Pain.
I know it's different in Phantom Pain. I'm like almost positive it is.
So,
but yeah, I don't know. There's a couple for you that really changed the course of how I viewed games, I guess.
Yeah, I grew up, got a Nintendo when I was like 4 or 5, and I was just super into Mario. And when I was 9, I got a PlayStation, got Crash Bandicoot, so I was like, fuck, platformers are it. Like, I love platformers so much. And then when I was about 11, I played Final Fantasy VII. Fucking made me a weeb, man.
Did you cry?
Dude, I cried. And then like Final Fantasy VIII came out like so close around that time that I picked it up too and loved it. Got 9, and then from then on, like I've been such a huge Final Fantasy fan for so long that I just love RPGs. And then from then on, I got Saga Frontier 2 and Thousand Arms, your favorite.
Yeah, the one you've been streaming. Yeah. That game actually looked pretty cool, I'll say that.
Yeah, it taught me how to talk to girls. So but yeah, love the RPGs. I didn't really get into visual novels up until about like 2 years ago. Just because I started covering them so much, then I was like, man, maybe I should fucking start playing these games. So now I review them, and they're fun. So whatever, I'm expanding my love for games.
That's always so. I mean, to split off into a different discussion just real quick, is that something you're constantly trying to do? Because that has been something I've been very aware of the last, I'd say, 12 to 18 months, is like expanding my taste and expanding the games that I play. And I don't really feel like I ever pigeonhole myself to specific genres or specific games, but there is just Japanese games, like specifically, I have never really jumped into.
Yeah, it's strange because I play the most obscure Japanese games. I import a bunch of Vita games, but then I'll I'll fucking spend 3 or 4 hours playing Call of Duty, like, or
Yeah.
Battlefield, like just so I can have an opinion means a lot more to me. And if I'm good at it, then that's all the better. But it is different jumping into a game, a Western main game that you can play for an hour or 2 hours and get almost instant gratification. Like, I'm having fun right now consistently for 1 or 2 hours, whereas you jump into an RPG, you're gonna hit points where you're like, man, this is dragging. Like,
yeah,
come on, like, I need to get here, but I have to be a certain level. Now I have to grind. I can't find this item. What do I do? Kind of thing.
And you don't want to look them up online or something like that, because that's lame and
super lame. Normie status, especially for games that I get like 2 or 3 weeks before they launch. Like, it's you can't even find that stuff, That's
been an interesting situation. So the more games I review, the more I'm getting into the weeds. Like Rhyme, so I reviewed Rhyme. There was like a couple puzzles in that game that tripped me up for just like 10 minutes, and I knew I would figure it out, but it was still like, I don't know what to do, and no one else has played this game. What do I do? And you figure it out eventually, but you kind of start freaking out because you're like, I can't ask anybody about this if I do get stuck. So you're in a weird middle ground, a gray area when you review those games you get early.
Just recently, the Nonary games came out, and that's like the first 2 Zero Escape visual novels.
Yeah.
And they put some new stuff in 999, the first one, and they're like, if you get stuck, just email us. we'll help you. Spike Chunsoft.
I think the Rhyme people told me that as well.
Luckily, I didn't have to. But it would suck. It would suck too. It hurt my gaming cred a little bit, like, to ask them a question about something.
Can you guys tell me? Give me the answer to this puzzle real quick so I can move on and review your game, please.
Yeah. But that's a little bit about us. A little personal.
How old are you, by the way? I can't even remember.
I'm 28.
I'm gonna ask. You're 28. I thought you were like 23, like me.
No.
But when you said you were 11 when Final Fantasy VII came out, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
It came out before. I was before.
Okay,
that.
So you didn't play it till later on or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I think it came out around when I was 9 or 10. Because when I played it, Final Fantasy VIII was already out. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you get to a lot of those games.
Yeah.
Years later, and you have no idea about it one way or
the reason why I convinced my dad to buy that game for me was because it had 4 discs, and I believe it was like $16 at the time, and I was like, look at Dad, you get 4 discs in this
More
game.
discs equals a better purchase for your money.
Exactly. He's like, well, I'm never going to buy you another game until you beat that 4-disc game. I was like, all right.
You beat it in a week.
I don't know how long. My perception of time when I played Final Fantasy VII was amazing.
I look back on games I played as a kid too, and I don't know how long any of those things took me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's wrap up the show then. Thank you for everybody who submitted comments or I guess tweets to our tweet we put up. I don't think you knew that this was going to appear on the ShockCast.
Surprise!
Surprise! You were featured in some way on this episode. Thank you for that. But it was fun to go over just a couple of our predictions. As we said, this show will be changing and evolving as we move forward. These next 2 episodes. So this is 34, I think. And next week will be 35 because that's how numbers work. So this one and the one that we do put out next will be a little bit different from the usual format that we want to implement. But we'll talk about that more after we get out of E3's shadow and we can actually start maneuvering and doing we get back into the normal everyday news grind and just normal.
The next episode will definitely be reactions to the conferences.
So that'll be UI. That sounds so weird.
Yeah.
It'll be you and I, and it'll also be Tomas, who will be at E3 with us. We will probably record that in our little Airbnb we're going to be staying at in Los Angeles, and we will be giving our thoughts on everything we've seen and done so far, which will actually be nothing E3 show floor related at that point. It'll just be conferences. Yeah. So you will have seen what we have seen up until that point. Well, yeah, that's correct. So come back for that next week. We'll talk about that. We'll get Tomas on this show. We'll see how he works. We don't know what that kid's going to be like in real life. That'll be fun to meet him.
Yeah. He's a character. He's definitely a character.
But yeah, this show is going to be way more consistent moving forward, so you can definitely plan on seeing it every Tuesday. Like we said, it will be posted. We will post it on DualShockers.com. So if you just pay attention to the website, you should see this post in an article format. We'll have probably a link to the audio as well as a link to the YouTube page, if I had to imagine. So this will go up as an article every Tuesday. You can also find it on iTunes or anything else that you use to listen to your podcasts on. And yeah, that is it for this week's episode of the DualShockers ShockCast. We will be back next week. And then
if you want to find DualShockers, you can follow
if you want to find us. Yeah.
DualShock on Twitter. I think it's at DualShockers. You can find me at Azario Says. And you can find Logan at...
I'm at Moreman12.
Moreman12. We'll have those linked in the article. You guys can find them there if you want.
Yeah, I highly encourage you guys, if you want to. I'm sure we'll be tweeting out from the main DualShockers Twitter, but I'm sure you and I will be throwing up all kinds of stuff on our personal ones as well. So if you want to follow our journeys while we're actually there and see what's happening on the show floor and all kinds of stuff like that, be sure to follow us at all three of those places, because we will be putting all kinds of pictures and probably, I would say, preview reactions up before we write thousands of words about in more depth about said previews. So if you want quick reactions and stuff like that, follow us there and you'll get that. But we'll be back next week live from Los Angeles at E3 2017. It's going to be a great time. But until then, have a great week. We love you.
See ya.